Welcome to Starry Gold Corporate Reporting Live class. It's 9 o'clock a.m., which means we are going to commence. It's been a rigorous one, we must say, right from day one preparing for this exam. We have gone through a lot of things in our various classes, and we even finished very early. And I'm quite sure that with the fact that we finished early, you have been able to add enough time for yourself to consider a lot of the things we have actually settled down, we have actually discussed in the class. So today, we won't be doing nothing new. You get, so basically still be following all what we have done in our class. We are going to be giving room for questions also. We have few questions here to treat just to prepare us. Then we also have some basic exam tips, which could be the edge towards passing. So I just want us to get ourselves prepared and brace ourselves up. Get your pen, your writing materials, and get prepared for this class. Okay, it's November 2021 diet corporate reporting live class. So let's quickly give ourselves some general examination tips. Okay, for those of us that have not gotten our pen and writing materials ready, I'll just give us few, maybe a minute or so to do so and get yourself prepared. Okay, and I'll be back. Then we commence our general examination tips. Okay, Nkechi Precious and Adaobi, thank you for joining us. Let's move quickly while we still expect more people to join. So please share this on your timeline to have a copy of it. Then you can tell some of your friends that we have begun the class, so that they can be aware. If you want to fall back to this later, it's always there for you. That's why you have to share it on your timeline so you can have a copy of it. Let's quickly go. Now, some of the general examination tips. One, you have to ensure you get to the exams or 30 minutes before the exams and identify your seats if possible. Why do we always say this? Many of us are not writing in an you don't you are writing in a particular order. Probably you've never written before, and you don't even know your seat number, and on that particular day of the exam, there's always tension in the air. So it is not advisable for you to begin to search for your examination number on that particular day, like within just few minutes. You get, so you don't get more tests. It's good for you to come early, at least 30 minutes before the exams. Identify your seat number, especially on the first day, because on that first day you are not aware of where you are sitting. Subsequently, you know where you are actually going to be sitting. And for those that will be writing maybe a paper or two, probably your exam is not the first exam of the diet. Probably you referenced, let's say, SFM, or you reference case study. Of course, case study is the last paper, so it's nice for you on the day that you'll be having your exam to go identify your seat number on time. Do you get? So that you don't mix things up. That could be a basic success guide for you, so you don't get tense. In that particular time where you are trying to identify your seat number, identify a lot of things, you can become tensed because of there's already tension in the air. And some of you might actually forget what you have read. So it's better for you, it's better for you to go to the examination or 30 minutes before the exams and identify your seat if possible. So let's go to two. Once you get to the exams hall, please don't panic. You only increase your level of anxiety, which will make you easily forget what you have actually read or what you actually know. Let me just give you this my own tip from my own experience of writing, because I have a quite understanding of writing ICAN exam, because when I qualified, I started for my own ACA. I started writing right from the days of ATS. So I have kind of long experience when it comes to writing like an exam. Do you get? So whenever you get into the exam, or when you get to the exam environment, you notice a lot of people are there. Some people might even want to even intimidate you. Some people might be asking different questions. Or have you read here? Have you done this? Have you done that? Do you get? Some people, some you see some people carrying textbooks, big textbooks on the day of the exam. Some people carry past questions. All of these, if you are someone like me, you become tense that, oh, I don't think I've really prepared. Look at how people are really reading. I used to say, look at the way people are actually jacking. Do you get? So all of this could actually increase your tension, the tension and all. But just so you um keep yourself at rest. You don't have to panic. Thing is, you have read, you have prepared. 50 is the pass, is the pass mark. I used to tell students 50, just 50 marks is the pass mark. You don't have to stress yourself, or you don't have to put yourselves under so much pressure. It could actually be detrimental for you passing the exam. So the best thing is for you to make yourself relaxed, calm your nerves. Um, don't don't be too worrisome. You get? Just leave everything to God. The exam itself is called ICAN. That means you can do it. You don't have to be the most intelligent of all students for you to pass ICAN exam. Of course, I've seen those that are not even very well, that are not having, not too witty like that, and they have actually passed ICAN exam. So just make yourself rest assured that you are going to sit for this, and you can actually say some words of affirmation when you decide. When me, I do something, let me just give you my little tip I wanted to say the other time. Whenever I get to the exam, or I stay away from where people are, not totally from where people are, because of, if you stay away from where people are totally, you might not know what is happening around you. At times, you might they might be passing and vital information, and you're going to hide yourself somewhere. Just like a particular case where a student um read and read and read over the night, went to sit for the first paper of the day. He was writing the second paper, and he decided to go read in a hidden place so no one would disturb him. And that was where, someone that has read over the night, that was where he forgot. He slept off on the chair. Then the exam was an afternoon paper. Then he woke up around past 5 when they had finished. So that's what someone would say AVP, Association of Village People, follow that. Such person may not be our portion, that God's grace. So you get, just don't totally isolate yourself. I didn't mean that he read where people are. Someone would have woken him up that, oh, are you not going into the exam, or let's go together and all. You get? So that's another important aspect. Don't isolate yourself from where people are. It's very, very, very important. But ensure you don't stay where it's too crowded. It might actually distract you, it might make you, might even increase the panic you get. So even if you are going to stay where it's hidden, talk to one or two people that, oh, kindly let me know if they're passing any vital information, or I'm going, or make them know that, oh, because of, if you tell them, they might be like, "Oh, someone that you know you can trust, don't go and take people that will not, that you cannot trust." So they will let you know that, oh, where are you? This exam, they'll try and come and locate you. Probably when they do not see you, that, oh, I've not seen this person. You get. So what I normally do is I stay not too close with crowd, so people don't disturb me. Then whenever I want to get scared or start to think, oh, I can't remember this, I can't do this, I laugh, like I smile. It kills, when you are under pressure and you smile, it reduces the tension. It helps you relax your nerves. Do you get? When you're under pressure and you smile, it will make you um it will make you to relax your nerves. Are we together? Your nerves will be relaxed. So that's how it is. Now let's go to the third one. If you are given exams question paper, the first thing you should do is read carefully the instruction to have a better understanding of what you are required to do. Are we together? Don't just rush into saying you want to start solving questions. You have, when not even the questions in itself, there are always instructions on your exam booklet. Are we together? There are always questions on your exam booklet. So ensure you read through those questions very well. Okay? Let me give us more time for people to join while we still review some general examination tips. I'm in class, I'm in class, I'm glad I'm starting. I'm in class, I was okay, sorry for the time. Let's move on to some important things to consider here also. So, number four, if you come across any question you don't understand, don't be scared. Don't say you want to start wasting time on that question. Of course, it's not only that question that you need to pass. There are other questions there for you to attempt that you'll be able to score more marks from. So, don't start with those questions that you feel they are harder. You start with easier ones. So just go ahead answering the ones you already understand. Then you can come back to the tougher ones later. Are we together? So five, make sure that you conclude and round off your work at least 30 minutes, 10 minutes before the scheduled time, so that you can actually cross-check your work properly. Imagine you finish like 10 minutes before the scheduled time. Please, you still have enough time to check, oh, where have I made some mistakes that could be detrimental to my success? Where have I not written my exam number somewhere? Where have I not done this? Where have I not? And if you are getting any extra booklet, you have to fasten it to your paper. Do you get? If you are getting any extra booklet, you have to fasten it to your paper, just so you don't get it misplaced in transit. Do you get a twine, or probably whatever, you staple them together um so that you don't mix up. Okay. um Still on examination tips, let's still add some additional tips. Let's go for the basic readiness. When we look at the basic readiness, this is where you cannot say you are going into the exam or with just one biro or one pen. Are we together? You cannot just say you are going into the exam or with one pen. Are we together? So you should go into the exam or with at least two pens or three pens. Go with extra ruler, go with extra calculator, most especially. it happened to me that particular diet where I was writing corporate reporting. It was my when I was writing corporate reporting, because I wrote corporate reporting once and passed. So um that particular diet I had actually have this, because I'm this kind of person that loves any calculator I'm going to be using for my exam. I love to have built enough learning curve on that calculator. Are we together? So that particular diet, I I was able to get one calculator going into the exam plus the other calculator I've been using before. Do you get? So when I got into the exam, or the calculator I've been using right from time that I've built enough learning curve on just stopped displaying. Can you imagine? I was destabilized. But what actually helped me was I was with another calculator that I just bought. So it served. And funnily, when I left the exam hall, it's the calculator that stopped working earlier on started working back. So can you see? So please ensure you edge the risk ahead. Get enough more than two pencils and get your calculator in case anything happens in calculate in the example, so that you don't get affected by it. Are we together? So you don't get affected by it. That's just the major thing. Now another thing is mental, emotional, and psychological readiness. um don't stress yourself this time. Whatever is going to stress you out, because of you need to be at the highest level of mental health. Your mental health must be in check. You must have this emotional balance if you want to act, even while you are reading, when you want to assimilate, once you want to write something like the example. This is not the time to whenever I'm taking this part in that life class, students used to laugh and all, but it's actually the truth. You know, if you are someone who makes, like, you watch shows, there are some shows that you watch, but there are some probably things that you watch that tampers with your emotions. You don't have to see it now. You can actually leave it till after your exam. It's just 3 days. You get 3 days that could actually determine your career. Do you get? So please just leave it for now. If you are someone that, oh, you love football so much, and whenever your team loses, it really makes you down. You are passionate, you are a dad football fan. This is the time to just forget about that, because it may actually disturb. We are just saying it. It's not something I'm a passionate football fan, and whenever I'm preparing for exam, I try to avoid putting my making myself really involved. Till now, I still have exams I'm writing. Whenever I'm preparing for exams, I don't really involve myself with things that could, like, watching the football match, of except if, oh, they win. Of course, if they win, you'll be overjoyous and all. And if they lose, you know what happens. So that's just it. You don't have to get yourself too emotionally involved with things. And this is time for you to even rest well. Don't stress yourself. I remember the particular diet I was working. I wanted to take 5 papers in corporate, in professional level, and I took 5 papers actually. Then I wasn't having much time because I was running an academic program. Then I was also working a 9 to 5 job. Then I was also writing my professional. So imagine how I'll be so tense. Then I was not having much time to really revise what I was attending classes, weekend classes. You get, so you know I was not having much time to really read. So about 2 or 3 weeks to the exam, I applied for my leave. Then I got my leave. I was preparing for the exam during this time. Do you get? So when I was preparing for my exam, I was taking extra hours. Even at times I stay like 8 hours reading. So at times I stayed throughout all through the night. Then I was taking caffeine just to read up and everything. Could you believe when I got into the exam, all what I read were just overlapping on each other? Like whatever I read for CR was I remember them when I was in SFM, or it was just overlapping because I was stressed. I was not giving myself much sleeping time. I felt, oh, the more I read and read and read, the more I want to pass. So you know what? That's why they were always giving a lengthy time to prepare for the exam. You should not say you just want to start preparing for the exam in 2 weeks or 1 week. That's why you have your blueprint. You get, we have given you a blueprint to follow. Those of you that have not gotten your blueprint, please chat to the admin so that you can actually get your blueprint. Also, if you are not in the members area, you can talk to the. We have past questions also that can get you prepared. You don't have to start to work yourself all over and work yourself out. You get, they are well explained diet by diet past questions that will just relax and follow it with the way the lecturer has actually treated them. This is time for you to just revise. Don't bore yourself too much. Whatever you don't understand at this critical moment, you don't have to start stressing yourself over it. Do you get? That's why I said don't stress yourself. Be well relaxed. Eat well. Eat balanced diet. Because of take fruit. You get, take fruit. Eat well. Don't stress yourself because of your writing in the exam. Then let's go to the next one. I don't want us to waste so much time on this. We have a big question to solve today. At least if I have about 4 questions to solve, and on the minimum, I still want us to attempt like 2 or 3 thereabout. You get, so that's why I'm trying to take this. But this is actually it's very important for us. Do you get? I don't want to neglect this aspect because of it could actually mean a lot. There are some of us writing this exam for the first time. There are some of us uh, that are not aware of all of these things. So it's actually good that we discuss it because of the same way we've discussed the syllabus, things we should read, things we should focus on, things we should pay attention to, how we should treat this and that. These basic exam readiness and exam tips could actually be the edge. I remember a particular diet like that when I was writing case study. That was the diet I passed case study because I had to write case study twice. When I entered the exam, I had not listened to I didn't, I was not around when I had not gotten to exam or when the examiner was announcing that, oh, for those writing case study, you'll be given a case study answer booklet and not a custom exam booklet that everyone uses to write the exam. You get, so fortunately for me, the examiner that was sharing the answer booklet gave me a custom exam booklet, the normal exam booklet. Do you get it? Instead of the one that has case study written boldly on it. So the exam had started about 2 hours, 2.5 hours to 3 hours. The end of into the exam, or we had about 1 hour, 1.5 hour left. You know what I would have done that time? I'd even finished my appendix and all. I was analyzing the case, doing my financial statement analysis and my financial data analysis, preparing to even go and write my executive summary. And that was when the examiner just came and was like, oh, why are you writing with this and not okay? Was taking the attendance out, you sign in and sign out. So he was trying to mark me out and all. So he noticed I was writing with and we are about 5 of us like that. So imagine if something like that. He had to give us more time. He just gave us a new answer booklet that we should not don't copy what you have written into it yet. Just leave enough space, then start whatever you want to write afresh. Just start it in this new book. You get, so just start it there. And thank God it was an examiner that was very lenient with us. If it were to be an examiner that wasn't lenient, you know what to mean that time. So that's why it's always good to pay attention to instructions in the exam hall. So luckily for us, when the exam stopped, he had to give us about 30 minutes or about 45 minutes there about to copy all what we had done. When I came out of the exam, it was like I had carried bricks. It was my whole finger actually hurting me. I had to rub it and rub it. It was really painful for me. So, but it was the will of God, and so it was successful for me that diet. Luckily for me that diet, I was able to pass the case study. So that was just it. So imagine you were unable to get an examiner that is lenient. So you know what that means. Please, that's why I keep begging students. All these basic exam instructions, please do not neglect them. So that's why I said be focused, 100% focused, and avoid distractions. Avoid unnecessary panic. Please, those of you that are just joining, please just type your name in the comment so I can recognize you. Thank you for joining. You can share this on a copy of this on your timeline. When you press the share button, you have it on your timeline. You can always refer to it after this live class is done. So those of you saying you could not hear voice before, I hope you are now hearing the voice now. So let's come together this particular class and avoid all form of distraction. Let's just pay attention in this class. Don't worry, I'll be just like what I did last diet. Many people have been asking me for my area of concentration. Last diet I actually spoke about areas we should focus on, and I actually gave a disclaimer that, oh, it's just my own, based on my own professional judgment, and I'm not an examiner. It's just what I feel belong. I've actually sat down with a lot of trends of passing the ICAN exam. I've written the exam myself. I am familiar with it, and I know how the exam is being structured. Do you get? So that's why I don't. I've sat down with a lot of trends, and I've analyzed areas I feel could actually come out this diet, just like I did last diet, where I predicted group cash flow, foreign subsidiary, and some other areas. At least four out of the areas, four out of the areas I predicted actually came out altogether. So four out of the areas I predicted last diet came out. Students were just thanking me my DM then. So don't worry, those of you have been getting some of your messages on the Telegram class that on Telegram rather, that please I've not dropped my EOC. Well, I'll talk about it in this class, but don't forget that it's just based on my professional judgment, and I would not be responsible for any um, loss that you suffer for placing a total reliance on whatever I'll be talking about, whatever area I'll be giving you. I'm not an examiner. It's just based on my own professional judgment. Are we together? So I said avoid all distraction and avoid unnecessary panic and fear. You have to believe in yourself, self-confidence. Don't be overconfident too. Just believe in yourself that, oh, you know what you have done the right thing to actually prepare for this exam. Trust me, ICANN is one of those exams that you ever take that you cannot over prepare for. I do tell students, no matter how much you have prepared, you will still be looking like, oh, I've not done enough. So you get so, but just believe in yourself. Oh, just believe that you have what it takes to pass. You don't have to be highly weighted for you to pass ICANN, as I've told you. So that's just it. Now, another one is for you to read carefully all instructions at the top of the examination paper. Please read all instructions. I've made mention of this previously. The other one is always start by reading the case study, appendix, and the exam question requirement. Take note of specific demands of the question. Okay. Whenever you are doing, whenever you are in the exam hall, I do tell students, once you want to start a question, go straight to reading the requirement. Once you read the requirements, it gives you a guide into what you are looking forward to in the real question. Because once you have the requirements sorted out, then you know, oh, all other things are not a problem. You get it will give you a guide. Imagine now, there are some questions that could be very lengthy. You get so now once you have a question that is very lengthy, you reading through the question before you now go to requirement, you don't have a guide towards where you are going to. But if you have a requirement, you know the requirement beforehand, then when you are reading the question, you know things you should be jotting down, things you should be noting. You get so you don't have to start reading it over and over again. You get so another thing is you should read all over the question requirement very well to ensure you have a complete understanding of the requirement. You can underline the key facts in every given appendix or question. Are we together? It's very paramount also. Let's move on. Okay, that being that, now let's start the class proper. Like I've been saying previously, click on share to have a copy of these on your timeline. Please click on share to have a copy of this on your timeline. It's very paramount. And if you are just joining, uh, I'm wishing you congratulations for joining in advance. Congratulations, because I know you have passed this diet. If you are just joining, welcome to the class. Please kindly type hello in the comment box and your location so that I would acknowledge you. Those that have been joining, I'll be acknowledging them. I can see you all. Are we together? So I can see you all. Mayo Dele, I can see you. Uh, so please, I'm recognizing you, Benson. I can see you. Alade, I can see you. Ayodele Oladipupo, I can see you. I'm recognizing all of you. Obatuleshe, thank you for joining. Those of you complaining about not hearing anything has been fixed. I hope you can now hear what we are actually talking about. Similarly, welcome also. So it's great to have us. Now let's begin. And quite quickly before I move on, if you have any question, you can drop it in the comment box so I can attend to them accordingly. Now, in regards to this diet ICAN exam, what are your greatest fears? We just incorporated this so that you can talk about it, so that we could actually leave some time to address this in this particular live class. Okay, so kindly drop your comment now. What's your greatest fear for this exam? So I'll give my advice on them accordingly. Now let's go to question number one. Sorry, this should not be skills level examination. This should not be skills level examination. This is professional level. That was a typo error. Professional level, not skills level. You are not going backward. By God's grace, you are always moving forward. We are moving forward and not backward. So corporate reporting, the time allowed is 3 hours 15 minutes. 15 minutes is your reading time. Section A. Now quickly, I would like to drop my AOC. I hope you're ready for this. My areas of, and I'll be giving you why I'll be dropping my AOC. And also I'll be giving you the reasons why these are the areas I'm picking. So for question number one, just like I predicted, group cash flow and foreign subsidiary last night came out. For a while, I've been giving my area of concentrations, and it's actually been coming the way I predicted. So, just, but of course, that it's based on my professional judgment, and whatever loss you are going to suffer from this, for total placing your total reliance on it, I would not be, it's not going to be on me. You get, I'll not actually be compensating such loss. So, question number one, I would like to explore joint subsidiary, joint subsidiary, a joint subsidiary, which is having an associate with it, an associate alongside it. The reason why I'm picking this is check ICAN very well. The area that has been most tested of late, even right from 2 diet, in fact 7, 8 diets backward, you can go and review. Joint subsidiary has been the most tested area ever. So, and you notice that this has been rested for a while. You've not tested, in fact, you've not had joint subsidiary tested in quite a very long time. So, it's giving you a guide. I can't want to test this diet. So, question number one, I would want to pick joint subsidiary, an area that I feel is going to be tested. Upper 2 diets backward, I spoke about disposal of subsidiary. I just tested last diet. I spoke about group cash flow. I just tested. It's been very long. ICAN has tested, not very very long that much, but it's been long. They've tested joint subsidiary and associate. So I'm quite to an extent. I'm quite very. I don't know why I'm giving that area associate. Any question that will be coming will be having associate. I'm quite to an extent. I'm certain about that. That whatever question that will be coming as question number one should be having an associate where you have, or a joint venture where you will have to use the costs or equity method to get the value. So this is an area I'm giving some significance, importance to. So you know what that means. And that area, I like to drop two areas that I feel questions will be tested from. Just like I spoke about group cash flow, and also the foreign subsidiary, and I can't ended up testing the two of them. Do you get that last night? So joint subsidiary class associate. That's not two, they are together, don't forget. Then the second area I feel I kind of want to give some significance importance to is piecemeal acquisition. Piecemeal acquisition. You can go back and check past questions and notice when they've tested piecemeal acquisition lastly. So I don't want to explain much on that, but I just have that at the back of my head that piecemeal acquisition is one area that I feel ICAN can actually test uh, this diet. So please, there are various scenarios under piecemeal, from control to control. Do you get? Probably from non-control to control. Do you get? So that way, various areas that they can actually, the treatment under each. We've done this in our class, right? Isn't it? So you might please give it some. I'm not saying you should not read other areas of the syllabus. These are areas that I'm just trying to tell you based on my professional judgment, I feel should be tested. Do you get? That's why I keep stating this always. So piecemeal acquisition. So based on, so that's my question number one. These are the areas I feel question number one would actually come out from this diet. Are we together? Then we have how many questions left? Okay, question B part, the section B part, where we have 20 marks questions, isn't it? So I'll be giving us about 4 topics or 5 topics I feel can be tested. Number one, IAS 37. IAS 37. I don't like to actually omit this. This is an area where I feel I can love so much. I don't just know why. If you notice, I've been putting it in my AOC every diet for like 3 diets now. I've been putting it in my AOC. So I don't like to take risk of removing IAS 37. So another one is IAS 37 is provisions, contingent asset and liabilities. So I love to include IAS 12 also, income tax. Please don't treat it with levity. I would like to also put IFRS 16. I don't know why it has not been properly tested. I still feel it has not been properly tested. You get since ICAN has been tested, since when it was reviewed. It was tested in a particular diet, but I don't like the question that was tested. It was not a very, I don't know how to explain, but to me, I feel there are still rooms of actually testing it. IFRS 16, that leases. It was formerly IAS 17, where we had the lessor and lessee accounting and all. But now we use, whenever you're having finance lease, when you have rights to use, you have to capitalize. You get? So that's just it about that. So another area is financial instruments. I know you saw this coming. I don't like to remove financial instruments. Financial instruments is another area that I like to. How many have I mentioned now? I said I was going to talk about 5 areas, right? So I've spoken about IFRS 16, IAS 37, IAS 12. Then I spoke about all the standards and even financial instruments. You notice I took my time on the group while I was taking it. We took financial instrument I think for 2 classes because of I knew the gravity of taking finance and we understood it very well there. I took the issuer standard, IAS 32. IAS 32. I took IAS 37. No, IAS 39. Before I now took IFRS 9 and IFRS 7, because the reason why I took IAS 39, I was saying it then that many students believe IAS 39 has been scrapped, but your understanding of IAS 39 would make you understand IFRS 9 very well, because of it was just terms that subsequent measurement. It was just terms that was changed there. Do you get? So uh don't joke with the financial instruments. Then lastly, segment reporting. That's IFRS 8. Segment reporting. IFRS 8. I have some other things dropping in my mind, but I don't want to go beyond this. Please, I still expect, if nothing, I do not get everything here tested. I have two. Two should still be tested amongst this. So these are areas I feel you should not joke with this diet. For your other B part of your question, IFRS 16, IAS 37, IFRS 12, financial instrument, and segment reporting. Segment reporting. Please don't joke with segment reporting. Also, it's been a while that ICAN has tested segment reporting, and I don't know why it keeps. But it has been ringing in my head for a very long time. So please, those are the areas I just feel. Well, you know, ICAN generally you have to prepare strategically. When I wrote my ICAN, I passed all my courses in ICAN. I was running academics program and also working. So imagine how really busy I would have been then. But me preparing strategically helped me pass my courses very well then. So I'm not doing prediction here. I'm just telling you areas that are likely that are very highly testable these days. So don't mix it and doing permutation and everything. So that's just it. And don't place so much reliance on it. Cover the syllabus as much as possible. So that's just my own area of concentration I feel for you. Are we together? So um I've actually dropped the areas uh I've actually dropped the areas I feel um some of you saying please drop everything on your mind. Yeah, I've dropped everything on my mind. Just like I did last night. Just like I did. Okay, I don't want to don't let me take the risk. Go and study management commentary and financial and integrated reporting. Also, I know why I'm saying this. I have said this over like 2 diets now, and they've tested it. Management commentary, I said it last diet, isn't it? So, all these areas, all these recent developments in corporate reporting, ICANN is shifting so much attention to it of late. So you see, my management commentary, I really treated it in. Because in fact, that was the first thing I treated in our first class. Management commentary and some other areas in financial reporting. So that was what I treated in our first class. Integrated reporting. That's another area. The person that said I should drop everything on my mind, I just dropped it. So my financial integrated reporting and um, management commentary, very important aspect also. And let me just squeeze this in. I don't want to overload us because of it is called AOC. And when I'm mentioning about 10 and 5, it's no longer AOC. You get? If I was allowed, I'll mention everything in the syllabus. You get? But I cannot mention everything in the syllabus. It's areas that are highly testable that I like to mention. Would you like to give some consideration to ratio analysis? Of course. Would you like to give some consideration to ratio analysis? Because I don't know, ratio analysis too has been dropping my mind, and ratio analysis has been tested for a very long time. It's been a very long time that they've tested ratio analysis corporate reporting. So I don't know what you might feel about that. Now, I don't want to waste much time. On the minimum, I have about 4 questions. I have questions on ratio analysis to treat in this live class. I have a question under group account. Like this group account question, I really want to treat it and I want us to understand it very well. Do you get? Because of it's under one of the areas I feel should come out. Talking about joint subsidiary that's also having an associate. Do you get? So I really want to treat this area. It has been dropped when I was playing this live class questions. In fact, I had to go and look for this question specifically. Do you get? And treat it. So that's just why I must treat it here today. Then I have a question under ratio analysis. I have a question under IES 37 here. Then I have a question under creative accounting and window dressing here also. I think I have a question under I have a question under employees benefit. Employees benefit. This would be an area that I kind of used to like to, and it's been long that they've tested it also. Employees benefit, that's IAS 19. So let's move quickly to our questions. Let's just digest this question first of all. This question is under um, joint subsidiary that is having an associate. Okay. Bagat PLC, please go along with me. I don't want you to miss anything here. Bagat PLC has 2 subsidiaries. Negat and Mingat, and one associate. Have you seen now? So this question is having a joint subsidiary that is having an associate. Now, since the adoption of IFRS by government, Bagat has been preparing its consolidated financial statements in accordance with the principles of International Financial Reporting Standards (IFRS). The draft statement of financial position of Bagat and its two subsidiaries as at 31st May 2013 are as follows. What I love to do whenever I'm doing my live class, wherever I'm picking my question from, I love to tell us so that we can be on the same page. Some of us might not want to might not want to read from this template I'm having here. So I like to drop where I've gotten my question from. If you can lay your hands on question number 1, November 2014, I picked this question, Bagat, this particular question, Bagat PLC, from question number 1, November 2014, question number 1. So just in case you want to go along with the questions there, but don't forget we are going to trash it out in this particular class. So let's move on. These are the assets. Have you seen it there? Bagat, Megat, and Mingat. We have the assets, we have their non-current assets, we have plans, investments in Megat, Mingat. We have it there. So we also have associates. That's the investments in the associates. Kagat, available for sale investment, is there also. We have current assets, inventory, trade receivables. We have the cash and cash equivalents. We have the total assets, equity and liabilities, share capital, retained earnings, and other components of equity. Okay. Then we also have the non-current liabilities, the long-term loans and all deferred tax, total non-current liabilities. We have the current liabilities also, the trade payables. We have the current tax payable. We have the total equity and liability. So let's go to the, of course, this is where the major work is. The following the additional information. So the following information is relevant to the preparation of group financial statement. On 1st June 2012, Bagat acquired 80% of the equity interest 80% of the equity interest of Negat PLC. Okay. PLC. And on this date of acquisition, those of you that are just joining, I have not solved any question yet. Are we together? So those of you that have just joining, please, I have not solved any question yet. So I'm just trying to read the question. I just give my area of concentration. So there's no big problem about that. Let's move on. On the date of acquisition, the retained earnings of Negat was 2.772 billion. Another component of equity were 80 million. There had been no new issue of capital by Negat since the date of acquisition. The purchase consideration comprised cash of 6 billion, whereas the fair value of the identifiable net asset of Negat on this date was 8 billion. The excess of fair value of the net asset is due to an increase in the value of non-depreciable land. An independent valuer has stated that the fair value of the non-controlling interest in Negat was 1.72 billion on 1st June 2012. See, you will remember I give us the various steps. I'm not sure I really solved a question in class under group account, but I was trying to explain to us then in that class, in my class. It was like the three classes towards the end of the diet, the Telegram class, where I was just giving us various steps to actually tackle any question on that group. Where I said, first of all, you must get your group structure. Haven't gotten your group structure, you go into calculation of goodwill and all of that. You get, if you still remember that. So that we're following the same method here. Then I also spoke about some things that you might need, some additional adjustments. I spoke about additional depreciation might be resulting from a fair value adjustment. Do you get? might have additional depreciation. And look at it now. They said that the fair value of the identified net was okay. The excess of fair value of the net asset is due to an increase. There was an excess in the fair value as at the date of consolidation. Do you get? It was due to an increase in the fair value of a particular um, asset, which is the non-depreciable land. Have you seen it? So of course, this is not going to lead to additional depreciation because of is a non-depreciable asset. So let's move on. An independent valuer has stated that the fair value of the non-controlling interest in Negat was 1.72 billion on 1st June 2012. It is the policy to measure non-controlling interest on the basis of their. Of course, can you see now that we are using the partial goodwill method? You are not to use the full goodwill. I have to identify here. It is the policy of Bagat to measure non-controlling interest on the basis of their proportionate share in the identifiable net asset of the acquired subsidiary and not at the fair value. Have you seen? So you have to use the proportionate share and not the fair value. Okay. Also on 1st June 2012, Bagat acquired 70% of the ordinary share of Mingat. Okay, 70% of the ordinary share of Mingat. The consideration for the acquisition of these shares was 2.56 billion. Under the purchase agreement of 1st June 2012, Bagat is required to pay the former shareholders of Mingat 30% of the profit. Please pay attention to this. This is looking like a contingent consideration. If you still remember what you did under FR, you have different forms of considerations, right? This is looking like a contingent consideration. Let's read it over again. The consideration for the acquisition of these shares was 2.56 billion. Have you seen? So under the purchase agreement of 1st June, Bagat is required to pay the former shareholders of Mingat 30% of the profits of Mingat on 31st May 2014 for each of the financial years to 31st May 2013 and 31st May. So it's going to pay any profit it made as at the end of 31st May 2013 and the profit as at the end of 31st May 2014 also is going to make is going to pay 30% of such profit. Do you get? So that's just it. To Mingat, the former shareholders of Mingat. So the fair value of this arrangement was estimated at 120 million at 1st June 2012, and this value has not changed. The amount has not been included in the financial statement. This is a contingent consideration. The fair value of the identifiable net assets at 1st June 2012 of Mingat was 3.52 billion, and the retained earnings and other component of equity were 1.1 billion and 140 million respectively. There had been no new issue of share capital by Mingat since the date of acquisition, and the excess of the fair value of the net assets is due to there's another fair value adjustment here, is due to an increase in the value of the uh, property, plant, and equipment. The fair value of the non-controlling interest in Mingat was 1.06 million on this date. PPE is depreciated on a straight line basis over 7 years. Finally, Bagat acquired a 25% interest in Kagat PLC on 1st June 2012 for 400 million. That's the cost, achieving significant influence over that company in its financial and operating policy decision. It just have a significant influence. It does not have a controlling interest. Have you seen? So that makes it an associate. Associate. Okay, for those of us that are asking my name, I'm Shonibare David by name. I'm the lecturer on the corporate reporting Telegram class. I've been the one in charge of the class for this diet. Okay. Kagat PLC retained earnings for the year to 31st May 2013 was 200 million. Have you seen? That's the retained earnings. Let's move on. Included in the trade receivables of Bagat at 31st May, they can have an intra-group trading, you get, or intra-group current account. So I explained this in the Telegram class also. If you really follow that class, it's part of the adjustment I told you to make. So included in trade receivables of Bagat at 31st May 2013 is a receivable from Negat of 30 million. Now, I just want to give us a quick tip whenever you are doing group account. If you have gotten the structure, you have known like you have read the additional information to an extent, and you know where the question is heading towards. Go and read the requirements. Is it a consolidated financial statement, statement of financial position, or consolidated comprehensive income? Do you get? So once you know that, you can now go do your group structure first of all. Don't wait till you finish reading the question. Do you get? So just read the once you are done reading, now you can go and do your group structure. Now together, once you prepared your group structure, you are good to go. Then you can now start solving. You go for your goodwill next. So that's just that. Included in the trade receivables of Bagat at 31st May 2013. Okay, sorry, is a receivable from Negat. Bagat is the parent. Bagat is the parent. You get? Included in trade. Okay, that's from the parent, a receivable in trade receivable of Bagat. So that's the parent. So and it's from Megat. Megat is a subsidiary. Megat is a subsidiary. Just remember the treatment when you have any intra-group trading from parent and you're having an unrealized profit. But I'm not sure this question is a question on unrealized profit. Let's be certain about it first of all. So included in trade receivable of Bagat at 31st May 2013 is a receivable from Negat of 30 million. Unknown to Bagat, Megat has paid this amount through a bank transfer by the close of work on 30th May 2013. Oh, but it had not yet been reflected in the bank statement of Bagat. Megat has already passed accounting entries to reflect this. Okay, so of course, Megat had made the payment, but it had not reflected in the books in the bank account of Bagat. So Bagat is still including it. Don't worry, we are going to treat this called we are going to make adjustment on the current account. You get of Bagat. So it's going to affect the group in total. You see how we are going to treat it anyways. So goodwill arising on the purchase of Mingat was tested for impairment. Mingat, please note that, was tested for impairment on 31st May 2013, and this provided evidence of what? Of impairments to the tune of 36 million. So no accounting entries have been passed to reflect the impairments. What's the requirement? Prepare a consolidated statement of financial position as at 31st May 2013 for Bagat Group. Okay, since we now know the requirements, let's first of all get our group structure. What is the group structure? I want to get your pen here. Group structure. So let's call this working one. Now, let's assume you're in the exam, or you can just flip like 2 pages. Do you get? Flip 2 pages and go. One write workings. Do you get? So flip 2 pages and write workings. You get? But on the first, like, I don't know how to explain. Leave 2 pages for where your consolidated the requirement to be. You get? So, but after you now write workings, now go back to that first page and then you write consolidate. You can write Bagat group on top. You can just write something like Bagat group. You write consolidated statement of financial position as at 31st May 2013. Do you get? That's the requirement. So you now put it there. You don't know whatever you want to use there, so you have to go and calculate your goodwill first of all. But before you do that, the workings, that workings, now flip back to where you wrote workings. You now write workings one. group structure. This will earn you mark, don't forget. When you write your group structure, you write Bagat. It is a joint subsidiary, right? So joint subsidiary. So let's just call this Negat. So this is going to be Negat. But don't forget that there's also a company that you're having significant interest in. So you just write this Kagat Associates all together. So you're having just 25% there. So yeah, you're having how many percent interest? Let's go. Should we go back to our question? Let's go check how many percent. So we have 80% controlling interest in Vegas. How about in Negat? We have 70%, 80 and 70%, right? So we have 80% here. So NCI, that's non-controlling interest. We have 20% therefore. So we have, this is 80, this is not 88, please know that. Here we have 70% controlling interest. So we have non-controlling interest to be 30% then. Sweet, right? So after you have done that, please click on share to have a copy of this on your timeline. And if you are just joining, welcome to class. Please kindly type hello in the comment box and your location so that I can acknowledge you. Some of us have not been dropping our location. And if you have any question, please drop it in the comment box. And like I said earlier, in regards to this exam, this particular direct exam, what are your greatest fear? Please kindly drop them in the comment box. I'll be attending to them. What are some of our greatest fear? So, are we together? Rotimi, welcome to class. Welcome. Konji, thank you for the clarification there. Konji Olami. Okay. Welcome. Ignatius Osaro, welcome to class. Okay, now let's move to solving of this question. Okay, let me create a template for us to solve. I've now adjusted my templates. Okay. So we can have enough templates to solve on. That's why I'm creating this. Are we together? So okay, sorry. I have enough templates to write on. Okay. Okay, have mistakenly taken that away. So let me write it again. So here is for Negat. So here is for Negat. So just like I said earlier on, you get. Let's now assume this is the first page now. You get. Let's assume this is the first page. You can now write Bagat group. Write Bagat group. Okay, I don't need to be ready to rule it yet. consolidated statement of financial position for what year again? Year ended. Let's go check the comment for the year. Okay, as at 31st May 2013. Shouldn't be for the asset. This is the comprehensive income that should have for. Asset 31st May 2013, right? 2013. So you have that sorted out. So just like I said earlier, you can now create two spaces. You get, sorry, just create enough space for yourself. Let me just call this, let's say, workings. I'm trying to show you how it's going to be like in your notes if you are doing it in the exam. Or so you leave two spaces, then you can just call this workings. You get. So don't forget we have done group structure. This place will go for group structure. Then you now come down workings 2. You call it goodwill, or calculation of goodwill for, where are we calculating for the first day? Let's calculate for Negat. So calculation of goodwill for Negat. So on the purchase of Negat, so call here Bagat for the parent and for the NCI. So what's the purchase consideration? Purchase consideration, we have to go back to go and check the purchase consideration in the question for Negat. The purchase consideration for Negat, it should be in the financial statement, isn't it? 6,000. Have you seen it? Investment in Negat, have you seen? So 6,000. The Negat is 2,560. So let's go back to the question, to our solution. So purchase consideration, that's 6,000. What is the fair value of the assets? Fair value of net assets acquired. The share capital. We have the retained earnings. I just want to write it out first before I go check it. So we have other components of equity. I hope you are following. OCE, other component of equity. Let's go check the question. Please note it, please help me to note it down, because I will not be referring to the question. It's taking my time. Do you get? So on the date of acquisition, the retained earnings of Negat was 2.7. Notice that's, if you call that 2.7 billion and we have zeros up, so you can just say that's 2.720, right? Billion, isn't it? Or you can say 2,000. If you have, that means that we're having 6 zeros up then. Do you get? So please don't make mistake with zeros that you are keeping up. So that way Then other component of equity is 80, right? 80 billion. What else? What about the share capital? What's the share capital? Share capital. Let's go back to the question. Of course, to be in the question. Share capital for Negat. This is for Negat, right? Negat and Negat. Please, if you can lay hands on question 1, November 2014. I don't like as I'm referring back to the question. I have my question in front of me here. I just want to be picking the figure because I know you don't have the question in front of you there. So yeah, you must see where I'm picking the figures from. That's why I said you should lay your hands. At least get the question of question number 1, November 2014. If you have gotten that, it will be very easier for you because of my subsequent solution. I would not like to be referring back to this. It's wasting my time. So I'll pick this. This is the share capital, right? And I've picked the retained earnings and also the OCE also. Then they also said that there had been no issue of shares. Okay, the purchase consideration comprised 6 billion. Of course, they even told us here. Whereas the fair value of the identified net asset of Negat on this date was 8 billion. Okay, the fair value of the identified net was 8 billion. So whatever we do, we must get 8 billion. So if we do not get 8 billion, it is due to that fair value adjustment. You get non-depreciable land. So it will be a balancing figure. So it is that whatever we do must get 8 billion. Do you get? So if we do not get 8 billion, we know that the difference is the fair value adjustment on the non-depreciable land. Are we together? So that's that. And they also said that the excess of the fair value, okay, an independent value has stated that, but we are not going to use proportionate. We are going to use proportionate share of net assets. We are not using this valuation of the non-controlling interest. Let's go solve. Please try and lay and get this particular question. I don't have to start referring back to it. I still have some questions to solve. I don't want to be. Time is going. I have less than 45 minutes left here. So please, I'm begging you, understand it's me, so that we can finish this question and lay hands on another question. I really want to touch on that question. I don't want to leave here without touching on that question. I don't want it to look like this will be the only question I'm solving for today. Do you get? So please, those of you that are just joining, please welcome to class and tell us where you are joining from. We are together on this. There's no problem. Yakubu, you are welcome. Thank you for joining us. Okay. So we have said the ordinary share capital was it 4,400, retained earnings 2,720. We have 6 zeros. Don't forget the billion. So OCE, what's our OCE? 80, right? So our total should give us what? Our total asset should give us 8 billion, right? But we are having, add all this together, 4,000 for this. The difference between these two, what is not making it? We're having 7,200, and that's 7,200 as such. We have 800 is the difference, so it's called the fair value adjustment on the non-depreciable land. Have you seen it? So this is the fair value adjustment. This will be 800. Fair value adjustment. Are we together? So that way we have gotten our, let's move on to the next page. We should get a gain on bargain purchase, don't forget. So let's now remove the parts that relates to NCI. Of course, the total net assets is not, everything is not for us. So let's remove the part that belongs to NCI. So Bagat, parent, Bagat slash the NCI of Negat. So that will be 80% and also 20%. So for the parent, it's going to be under the colon of Bagat, right? So Bagat, we have 80% of that 8,000. 80% of that 8,000 is 6,400, right? So this is the real amount that we acquire. Do you get? So we have the other 1,600. That's 20% of 8,000. We go to the NCI. So if you deduct this from 6,000, this is the real amount we are going to deduct from. We're having a gain on bargain purchase because of the asset. The consideration purchase is lower than the amount, the asset that we have acquired. So as such, the fair value of the identifiable net assets. Okay, so we are going to have a gain on bargain purchase. Gain on bargain purchase. So we are not having a goodwill, we're having a gain on bargain purchase. And you know how we used to treat a gain on bargain purchase. So that would be 400. So you know we are going to take gain on bargain purchase is taken to earnings, going by IFRS 3 business combination. So it goes to earnings, retained earnings. So let's now go for the purchase goodwill. Let's call this working 3. Goodwill on purchase of Negat. Negat. So here we have the purchase consideration. Okay, let me first write it down. This is for Bagat. Then this is the NCI. The purchase consideration. Purchase consideration. Bagat paid. Bagat rather. Please check the question. That's 2,000. I don't want to refer back. 2,560. We also have the contingent consideration. Don't forget that there's a contingent consideration I spoke about the other time. Let me go back there. Have you seen where they said that there had been no issue? Okay, where did you read it? There. Okay, have you seen it where they said that the fair value of this arrangement was estimated at 120 million at 1st of June 2012, and this value has not changed. So we have to carry that 120. It's part of the consideration. It's part of the consideration. That's a contingent consideration. I hope you are familiar with that. So contingent consideration, that's 120, right? $120. So we have the total consideration. Punch your calculator, let's add it together. Total consideration, that will be 2,560 plus 120. Value was 2,680. Okay, now let's go get the fair value of the identifiable net asset on acquisition. Identifiable net asset, fair value of net assets acquired. Okay, share capital. How much is the share capital? 2,000, right? 2,000. We have the retained earnings, right? 1,100. Retained earnings 1,100. Then we have the OC. Go back to your question, please. You see it there. OC is what? 140, right? So if we add all of this together, don't forget that we are still going to have a, what did they say that is the total, should be the total fair value of the net asset. Total fair value of the net asset should be 3,520. Let me go back so you see it, because I'm seeing it here in my question. I don't like to do something like I'm just picking figures. Can you see it? Fair value of the identifiable net asset at 1st June 2012 of Negat was 3,520 billion. At least 3.52 billion. So you can now go back. So if it is not up to 3.52, then of course you know that there's a fair value adjustment there. So the total net assets should give us, if we add everything together, 3,520. So we are having, if you add all this together, it gives you 3,240. So the difference between 3,240 and 3,520 will be a fair value adjustment, and it's a depreciable item. That's the PPE, fair value adjustment. So that should give us 280. Let's move to the next page. 280. So let's get that of NCI, remove it from it. Bagat, their NCI, Bagat and Negat were at 70% and 30%. So if 70% for Bagat to now be 70% of 3,520 will be 2,464. Punch your calculator also. So for the NCI, we have 1 for the NCI. Sorry, that'll be 30% of 3,520, right? 30% of 3,520, that's 0.1056. Are we together? Okay, so fair value adjustment. Of course, the PPE will be debited. Of course, do you know that? PPE will be debited because of it's going to increase your PPE, and you know it's an asset. So to increase an asset, you have to debit it. But you don't forget that we have to calculate additional depreciation. But before I do that, let's first get our goodwill. That's the major thing now. So goodwill, deduct this from 2,680. That should give us 216. So our goodwill is 216. So our PPE should be debited with 280. Then PPE should also be credited with so here when we debit 280, we credit fair value adjustment. You get fair value. I'm just showing you the journals. Adjustment, credit fair value adjustment. Then here you are going to credit. So to get the amount, to get the depreciation, let's go check the additional information on that PPE. Okay. They said that the fair value of the okay. PP is depreciated on a straight line basis over 7 years. Have you seen? So we have to depreciate it over 7 years. Please note that. Over 7 years. So that will be, together, that will now be 280 divided by 7 years. It does not have any scrap value, so that will give us 40. So we have to credit PP, that's depreciation. It's going to be a charge to PP. So we have to credit it, that will be 40. Then we debit retained earnings with 40 also. That's profit or loss. That will be for Negat. Do you get? Debit Negat P of L with 40. Don't forget that it is in Negat. Debit Negat. And when we get to PPE, we're going to do that. Now let me quickly squeeze this in. Whenever you are doing group account, don't say you want to do all the adjustments before you start something. Like now, you see what I will do now. I'm done with PPE and I'm done with goodwill. I'll go back to my question, my main requirement. Because of it's the requirement that matters. I go back to my main requirement. My requirement is to prepare a consolidated statement of profit or loss for Bagat PLC Group. You get? So I start with my assets, isn't it? Start with my assets. The reason why I started with goodwill because of I need goodwill in my assets. So don't forget that we are keeping millions up. That's 6 zeros. Don't forget to put your naira sign. So let's start with the non-current assets. Non-current assets. So PPE. Now for our PPE, let me just put things I'm adding here together for you to see. We have adjusted PPE, right? So you had that of Negat, Magat and Negat together, isn't it? So the Bagat one was 5,300. Please go and check in your question. 5,300 plus that of Negat 4,600. Hope you are following. If you have any question you can ask. That of Negat is 3,220. Then we have to add those fair value adjustments. Do you get? So fair value adjustment for the non-depreciable land, that will be 800, right? That we solved earlier. Then plus the fair value adjustment for the PPE. Do you get? That will be plus 280. Then we have to deduct the depreciation, just like I said earlier, that it will be credited. So that will be 40. So if you solve this out, you get 14,160. Punch your calculator. We've sorted that out, isn't it? So we come down to goodwill. Now, did they say goodwill will be impaired? Let's go check the question. Okay, goodwill arising on the purchase of Negat was tested. Oh, this provide evidence of payment to the tune of 36 million, and no entries have been passed to effect the payment. Okay, so let's go adjust this here. Also, so this is goodwill on acquisition. So goodwill on consolidation. It's goodwill on consolidation that we need to. If there's no impairment, goodwill on acquisition will be same to goodwill on consolidation. So it will not be less impairment of 36. So this one will be 216 minus 36. And that will give us what? Our total goodwill will be 180. You punch your calculator. 180. So the accounting entry will be, don't forget that we have to debit goodwill. Goodwill is an asset, and we credit um, we credit retained earnings. Thank you. Credit retained earnings. So that's how we have to go with that. Okay. So when we are doing our consolidated retained earnings, you will see how we are going to deal with that. So credit retained earnings. I'm sorry, you debit retained earnings. Are we together? Okay. Okay. You might be wondering why I didn't have to share the payment, but once I'm using full goodwill, I don't have to um, consider that. But don't worry, we are going to, when I get there, you will notice why I did that. Okay. Let me goodwill here. So that would be goodwill. We have the figure 180, right? So 3, let's go to investment in associates. Investment. That's the next. Investment in associates. Don't forget that we used to use the equity method. So you can now go back to your, you see, as you are, whatever you need, you go and solve it. That's how it should be done. Do you get? So that will be 4. Is it working 4 or 3? It's working 4. So you call it investments in associates. So what is the value of the associate? Negat 400, right? So what is the share of post-acquisition earnings? Share of post-acquisition earnings. What was the post-acquisition earnings, if you remember very well? The post-acquisition earnings was I'm trying to check my question here. That's 200. We got 200 million, so that would be 225% only, because we are only concerned with post-acquisition earnings. 25% times 200, so that will give us 50. We add it with this. There's no any impairment in the investment in associates. What else? We don't have any other thing, so that will be 450. That's the value of investment in associates using the equity method. So we go back and write it there. In associates, that's 450. Never say you want to solve everything finished before you now start doing your requirement. The examiner, your workings is just to show that you know what you are doing. The requirement is what the examiner will most likely will mark. You get. So what's the essence of doing all your workings and you do not do the requirements? So please, even if they say, time up, you have your requirements standby from there. You get. You don't have to fear. Not like you should do all the adjustment. You now say you want to start copying it. Yeah, to waste your time. Please don't do that. It can be detrimental to your success. Are we together? So that's investments in associates. You also have available for sale financial assets. Available for sale. So don't forget that we just added, there's no any adjustment that we did here. So we just added all of them together. That's in Bagat, Negat, and Negat. So that's 120, 1020 naira plus 120 then plus 100. So that gives us 1240. So inventory also, you have to add inventory. There's no any adjustment on inventory, right? There's no URP, there's no intergroup trading. So we have, it's only intergroup current account that we have. So that of Bagat is 2,700. 2,700 plus 1,100, then plus, that's that of Negat. Please don't consolidate Kagat though. You know, it's an associate. 2,460. So if you add them together, that should give you what? 5,260. What else do we need? Trade receivables, right? But I don't think I need trade receivables yet. Okay. Don't forget, this is current asset. This is current asset. I'm done with current. Sorry, you can just sum it up here. Forgot to sum it up. I was already getting. So if you sum it up here, just to get your total non-current asset. Have we treated everything? Property, goodwill, investments in associates, available for sale. Okay, we've treated everything. That should give us 16,030. So I'm treating the current assets here. So receivables will be the next, right? Trade receivables. So let's go solve it. Of course, I have to solve trade receivables because we had a cash in transit. So let me call this working 5. Trade receivables. I hope you are following. So from Bagat to Negat, Is it Mingat or Megat? Is Megat. I just confirmed. So yeah, Megat was having a new balance, which he has sent here, was having 30 naira. We have sent it here, but there was this one is called cash in transit. Do you get? But Bagat was still having 30 here. I didn't mean that this 30 got here, it will nullify this. Do you get? So it will not have, it will not be new just like this. So this cash in transit is what, so we are going to exclude it from receivables. Do you get? And we are going to include it in our cash and cash equivalent. Do you get? Because of his in bank, it's not yet, you get, it can be cash and cash equivalent. So the treatment will not be for us to credit, we'll credit for Bagat for the group, because of course, you know, this 30 is already included in Bagat's own, Bagat's receivable. So we have to credit Bagat receivable. You know, receivable is an asset, so we credit it in Bagat and we debit it. We now debit cash. 30. So debit is credit receivables to cash. So we debited. So if we say we should debit cash, you know, we are increasing cash, it's an asset. So 30. So that's how we are going to treat it. So since we have done it that way, let's now go back to our question. So trade receivables, this is how we are now going to go about it. So now say that of Bagat is 1820 plus that of Negat 900. Remember that 30 is inside here and we need to remove it. So plus that of Negat 640. So minus the 30. I'll say we should credit. So if we sum it up, that will give us 3,330. Let's go to the next page. This page is getting full. So let's now call this cash and cash equivalent. Cash and cash equivalent. Are we making any sense at all? So cash and cash equivalent. So we say here, still put your naira sign, million. So Bagat is 2,440 plus Megat own is 2,000, right? Then plus that of Mingat 160. Don't forget that we have said we should debit cash, right? So that will be added to it, intergroup receivable from Negat. So that will now be 30. So if we add it together, that should give us what? 4,230. At least now we are answering the requirement. Whatever we need, we go solve for it and come back. That's why I said you should leave like 2 spaces. Do you get? Now let's go to equity and liabilities. Now let's get our total current assets. We add it up. Our total current assets will now be 12,820. So let's add our total assets. Here we have the total assets. Total asset, that would be non-current asset plus current asset. 12,820 plus 16,030. That should give us 28,850. 28,850. Are we together? Please, are you following? Do you understand what we have been doing? Please, are we following? Yeah, Olorun Kola Ayomide. Joint subsidiary is the same as fellow subsidiary. Tolu, you are welcome to class. Joint subsidiary is the same as fellow subsidiary. Please note that. Sorry, let me just take water. I've been talking. Okay, we are back. Let's move to equity and liabilities. Equity and liabilities. Okay. So what is the equity attributable to the owners of the parent? The equity attributable to the owners of the parent. What's their share capital? Share capital. Go and check in the question of the parent. Let me just give us this to can check. You see where I'm picking it from. Have you seen 10,400? You are not to consider that of Negat and Megat. Please note that. Begging you. Okay. So 10,400. 10,400, right? So we also need consolidated retained earnings. And this is where we have to go and solve for our consolidated retained earnings. Are we together? Let me use here. Let me call it working 6 consolidated retained earnings. Okay. So here will be for Bagat, Megat, Mingat, and lastly for NCI. So as per question or that was brought forward, isn't it ASAT? Let me say ASAT, 1st of May 2013. As at the beginning of the year, they had 4,000. This is the one in the question anyways, you get. So 4,800. Let me show you where I'm picking it from. It's in retained earning 4,800, 3,000, and they have 1,600. You get. So that's it as a question. So I have to deduct post like pre-acquisitions there. You get. So I have to deduct pre-acquisitions. Let's do that. 3,000. Don't forget to include your naira sign there. And we have 1,600. You get. So pre-acquisition. Yeah, 2,720. Here we have 1,100. Are we together? So we have gain on bargain purchase for Bagat. So gain on bargain purchase, like I said earlier, on bargain purchase, when we this goodwill that I should be credited to consolidated within the next. It's for Bagat, don't forget, that's 400. So what else do we have? We have share of post acquisition retained profit from associates, share of profit from associates. So that's 25. You remember how we did it? That would be 25% times 200. That gave us 50. So what else do we need? Additional depreciation. Additional depreciation. Additional depreciation was for Megat is new. For Bagat is new. For Megat is new. The additional depreciation, that fair value adjustment was not a depreciable item you get for Megat, but for Mingat it was. That gave us 40, right? So we have to deduct 40 from whatever we have gotten here. You get. So we deduct this. So we have impairment of goodwill also. Impairment of goodwill. Don't forget impairment. And impairment of goodwill is only for on the acquisition of Negat, so it's taken to. So it's for only the parent. That's 36, right? That's deducted. So with this, we should arrive at our post-acquisition profits after I've deducted all of this. So we should arrive at post-acquisition profits. So what will be our post-acquisition retained earnings? So let's sum this up. It should give us 5,214. This 3,000 minus this should give us 280. And this one should give us what? 460. Okay. So now let's share it. Let's share the post-acquisition profit. Let me just say share. Let me call this share from Negat. That would be 80% times 280, right? Do your math. 80% of 280, that's 224. So the remaining will be going to NCI. So you give NCI 56 here. All together. So I have share from, sorry, not from Negat, so it's from Negat. So this one will be from Negat. So that will be 70% times 460. That will give us 322. So we have to add it up. This one, NCI will not take 30% of it, right? That will be 138. So NCI is taking 56 from here, 138 from here. So if we add it up, the consolidated retained earnings should now be 5,000. So time is moving really fast. Now be 5,760. Are we together? So 5,760 are our consolidated retained earnings. I hope you understand what we have done here. So consolidated retained earnings will now be 5,760. So what else do we need? We need other component of equity, right? OCE, other component of equity. So we have to add that up, other component of equity. Are we together? So please sum it up. Are we together? Have you summed it up? What did it give us? Other component of equity. Because that will be from the parent. We are not taking that of other this thing. It will be for only the parent. Please don't take that's 240. Do we have any adjustment to make on those? Don't think so. So let's just write it there. 240, right? So what else? We need non-controlling interest. Since we have gotten this, let's sum it up. That will give us what? It should give us 16,400. So let's get our NCI, which we are going to add to it. Value of our NCI, then we now move to non-current liabilities and we'll talk about current liabilities. So let's go calculate our NCI. Have you seen that? Whatever I need, I go solve it, put it in, and that's all. So let me call this working 7 NCI. So Negat, NCI from Negat and Negat. So we have the total. So don't forget NCI at acquisition, or as per the question. This one is proportionate share, then this one is full goodwill. Don't forget the question. Let me just say at acquisition though. So it's quite easier for it because I've done NCI when I was doing my goodwill. Did you get? So goodwill purchase. I'm trying to look for my NCI here. So I should have written it 1056. Have you seen it? And for the 1056, then for the other one, what that gets my NCI 1600 is a proportionate share of net assets. So that's why. So 1600, 1056. So is there any adjustment we need to make on it? We only need, do you have any impairments to deduct? No. Do you have anything to deduct, URP or anything? No. So we have only post-acquisition profit to add to it. Post-acquisition profit from Negat. What's the post-acquisition profit from Negat? 556. Then we also have 138, right? From Negat. 56 and 138. So if we add them up, that'll give us 1656. Then this also 1194. So let's add the two up. Should give us 2850. So that's our NCI. Our NCI is 2850. I'll write it in the question. NCI 2850. So if we add this up, it should give us 19,250. So we sorted that out. Let's now talk about non-current liabilities. Non-current liabilities. So what are the long-term liabilities? I'm just picking from the question. I don't have any adjustment to make on it. I just add them up. Do you get? So that of Bagat 2,400, 2,400, then plus 500, right? And plus 100. So this should give us 2,800. If I'm right on my calculation. Let's go to the next page. We still have deferred tax also. So deferred tax, that's the next one. Deferred tax. So let's add that of Bagat. All of them, so that'll be 2,300. Just checking your question. And we have 600. And we have, oh sorry, what am I picking? I'm picking something else. I was going to pick from trade and other liabilities. So I was wrong. So we have deferred tax 500. Then that's for Bagat. Then for Negat, that's 180. Then for Negat, that's 60. We add them together, that'll give us 740. Are we together? So that's about the long term, the non-current liability. Now let's talk about the current liabilities. Our current liabilities, we have trade and other liabilities, right? Trade and other liabilities. Trade and other liabilities. So we add them up also, don't forget. So let me, because of space, let me add them up here. So that will be for Bagat 2,300 and plus for Negat, that's 600. Then we have Negat. Sorry, Negat is how much? 1,200. Don't forget the contingent consideration of the other times. The liability for you, the current liability, isn't it? Because if you are going to settle it next year, in 1 year time, that's 120, right? So it's a contingent as a liability, current liability. So please note that. So 120 contingent consideration. Add it to it. So that should give us what? 4,000. What's your calculator also? 4,220. So and then lastly, we have a current tax payable. current tax payable. Are we together? So our current tax payable for Bagat, I'm just picking from the question, I'm not doing any adjustment. 1,200 plus 1,060 and 160 and plus 480. This should give us, in total that should give us 1,840. So that's that for that. So if we add it up, that should give us 9,600. Are we together? So what you are now going to do for me now is these two. We add 9,600 sorry, this one is giving me, when I added, let me just to make it so that we don't mix things up. So here we have this one gave me 4,220. Then this is giving me 1,840, right? So total will now give me 6,060. So 6,060 plus 6,760 plus 3,540. If I add 28 plus 740, this should give me 3,540. So 3,540 plus 6,000 give me 9,600. You get? So now I'm now gonna add my 9,600 plus 19,250. So that should now give me everything total. That's 28,850. 28,850. So what did we get in our total assets? We got 28,850 also. Can you see we are correct then? It's balanced. So that's just how to go about it when you have a group account that is also having an associate. Are we together? So that's how to always go about it. So that's just it about that. So please, those of us that were unable to attend to the other questions, please just go through all the plays I've shared. Can you see I had the question here? It's just time that was the limiting factor. It's just time that was the limiting factor. I had a question on the ratios analysis. Have you seen? That I told you about, and you see profit and efficiency ratios and all. So please, thank you for staying with me, and I want to use the time to wish you success in your exams. You have prepared very well, so ensure you follow what you have actually spoken about. So if you have more questions, you can ask. Kindly join our free Telegram classes using this link here. So thank you for staying with me. I would like to especially appreciate those that were active and attentive in this class. So it will your so some people ask in Alade Matthew just to indicate your interest in the associates using the equity method. Yeah, it's the equity method that we used. It's the equity method that we use. It's the equity method that we use. Please note that. So that's just that with that. So thank you for staying with me, and it will be a bye for now. Yeah, I'm coming. I'm just looking at the questions. Mm. Àwọn ọmọ yìí wọ́n wá like láti confuse am. You student are adamant at times. Nígbà tí mò ń ṣe ẹnìkan mo lo equity method mo fi calculate associate cost of associate. Ṣé cost of associate ò ní sí lára investment wa ní sínú an asset? Mo wá include àwọn sọ pé should we include, are we supposed to include? Òun ló ń tackle mi bíbá látẹ̀kan. But èmi Ọlọ́run wá gbèjà tèmi because of àwọn èèyàn tó jẹ́ ẹgbẹ́ wọn náà ti ń bá wọn dá sí, wọ́n ti ń já already. Pé are we to include eléyìí kò yé mi o. Ṣé available for sale asset náà ṣé kò ní sí ní under asset ni? Àwọn bíbí wọ́n kàn máa ń like láti cause àwọn nǹkan tó nídìí. Ẹ̀dẹ̀ ní exam next week ẹ mọ̀ pé ẹ kẹ́ fi associate so under asset. Ọkàn mi dẹ̀ sọ mi ì ṣe ratio kankan group nìkan mo solve. Mi ì para mi. Wàláì mo ń gbọ́ yín bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe ń fún ọ ní capital employed. Eléyìí ti kúrò bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ó dẹ̀ kú PSAF fún mi báyìí. PSAF yẹn ò dẹ̀ lè ní mí lára. You get. I wanted to say that because of I keep referring back to questions over and over. So let them have a copy of it. So it keeps slowing me down because I keep referring back to the question, and also I'm using calculations. It's always slow. Good idea. Jack wanted.
I don't know. It's like I left my phone here.
I've been looking that way, Jonah.
I've been looking for it. Let me.